Jesus opened the eyes of the blind. He gave back to people the gift of sight. Vision is the faculty of sight. It is unusual competence in discernment or perception. That goes beyond looking at a thing. It is looking beyond a thing, looking into a thing, so that you have an unusual competence in the ability to discern what others miss. Webster says that a vision is a mental image produced by the imagination. Ah, it's deeper than that, Mr. Webster. He did the best he could. Vision has at its root, as we said on Xavier's Day, an idea. An idea is a well-developed thought. You know, in the comic books, whenever somebody had a brilliant thought or idea, they would put over the head a light, a bulb. That's it. Light got turned on in the guy's head. He saw something. He had an idea. But he really didn't have an idea. He had a thought. Because ideas are different from thoughts. Ideas, like thoughts, exist in the mind, potentially or actually as a product of mental activity. You can't have an idea or thought if your mind is not active. Brain waves on a machine that scans the activity of your mind, of your brain, shows an electrical energy in the brain that says this is alive. Electrical energy in the brain allows the brain to do what the brain is designed to do. Create thought, create image, create pictures. Listen, once you have a thought, that is a concept. When you say, sister has conceived, what do you mean? Sister has conceived. What do you mean? She's pregnant, right? Conception is not baby. The conception has all the necessary ingredients to make the baby. But now it needs a period of gestation and growth in the darkness of the womb so that conception becomes a fully developed child, baby, fetus. When thought germinates in the mind, if you don't continue to think on the thought, I want you to hear me. If you don't continue to think on the thought, then the thought without more thought only is a thought that comes and goes. And you will say when somebody else comes up with the thought, but thinks on the thought, they stole my idea. They stole my stuff. They making the money and I ain't got none. Dirty, low-down thief. Wait a minute, fool. You don't have any corner on thought. You don't have any specific corner on imagery. Many of you have good thoughts, but you do nothing about what you think. So the thought was an opportunity that you blew because you didn't do by the thought what you should have done. You got to think on the thought. You have to think on the thought. And thinking on the thought is feeding the thought. Then the thought develops into an idea. And that idea has with it a plan, a scheme, a method of fulfilling and concretizing what was a mental image that had potential, but now you want to actualize what you have envisioned. But if you even develop the idea or the thought into an idea and still will not work the idea, then God will give the idea to somebody else who will fulfill the idea and fulfill the vision brought by the idea. After the thought brings up a concept, you've conceived. Most people talk the thought, and the thought gets lost. It's like showing the baby before the baby is a baby. Who wants to see a clot but an abortionist? And most times we get a thought, we speak it before we think on the thought. Get it developed. And it must develop in darkness, like the womb of the female, the womb of the mind. Develop your ideas. Then develop the method, the plan of execution. The idea will bring up a picture of the completed thing. The picture is in your brain. You can draw it on a piece of paper so that you can keep the vision before your eyes. But putting it on paper isn't actualizing the vision. The vision is only actualized when you bring it into concrete reality. How do you bring it into concrete reality? First, without faith, you can't work the vision. Even if you see it, you gotta now believe that you can bring it. Believe. Not only believe in God, but believe in yourself. Believe that you can do what you envision that must be done. But belief alone is not of any value unless belief is translated into practice or work. And it is belief joined by work that concretizes vision.
Greetings, beloved family. I begin in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. I bear witness that there is but one God. Welcome to the Black Agenda here on the Street 919 FM. I am Brother David Muhammad, and I'm going to be in studio with you up to 9 o'clock this morning, inshallah. And in a short while from now, I will open up the telephone lines and take your calls on 342-0081 and 466-5391. Let me say Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak to the entire Muslim community and also all of those who are fasting for the holy month of Ramadan. So we are in the second day of the last 10 days of fasting. And remember, as I would have said 3 weeks ago this morning, that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that the holy month of Ramadan is divided into 3 sets of 10 days. The first 10 days are the days of mercy. The second 10 days are the days of reward. And the third 10 days, the second 10 days are the days of forgiveness. And the third 10 days are the days of reward. So we are during that period where we are beginning to reap the benefits and the reward for our efforts, for our sacrifice, for our struggle over the first 20 days. And we have continued to have such a beautiful month at our base at the Kwame Ture Center. We've been having the iftars, the breaking of the fast, and we had another wonderful week. Yesterday evening was beautiful. It was great. I don't want to make comparisons between the days, but it was really fantastic. And next week, inshallah, we will be having the iftar every day, and we would make food available for our people. So many people who have always over the years expressed interest in the fast for the month of Ramadan, but are a bit hesitant or unprepared, we always say, well, look, if you haven't been able to begin, use the last 10 days to reap whatever you can out of the experience. And there are people who will begin in the last 10 days or the last 9 days, if you're listening, or whatever the case may be. You know, I mean, that's between you and your God, who's the only one who knows what is in your heart and in the depth of your mind, in the depth of your consciousness, in the depth of your spirit. This is an exercise that has a purpose. And I just want to say this, you know, Minister Farrakhan had said to us at that great speech, the Swan Song, that the Quran teaches that, okay, so fasting is prescribed for us. A prescription is a remedy or cure or treatment for a disease or illness or sickness. But then it says it's a prescription so that you may guard against evil. And so there are two things about fasting. There's the purpose and there are the benefits. Well, this is according to the Quran. The purpose is so that you may guard against evil. You may be attracted, provoked, tempted, lured in to evil. You may have evil on your mind. You may be thinking about doing harm to someone or slandering someone, dragging their name through the mud, stealing from them, harming them, injuring them, hurting them. committing some kind of crime. So fasting is a prescription that we may guard against evil. That's the purpose. But the benefits are good health, purification of the biological system, cleansing of the bloodstream, losing weight, dropping blood sugar levels, whatever the case may be. There are multiple health benefits, but we were cautioned by Minister Farrakhan to not get so caught up in the benefits that you forget the purpose. And that is critical, of course. And to be honest with you, as Muslims, when we talk to other people about fasting, we tell them about the benefits. But we don't want to exchange the benefits for the purpose. And the minister said, so the benefits are for you, but the purpose is for Allah. So good that you can benefit from it, but don't forget the element of sacrifice in it too. So in the last 10 days, Monday to Friday next week at the Kwame Ture Center, we have the iftars every day at 6:21. Fast breaks at 6:21. We will break our fast with something light. We pray. Then we come back together. We have our meal. We try to adjust one circle of tables so that we could all sit together along with our guests. We have our meal. And then we pray the evening prayer about an hour and 10 minutes later. And then we enjoy each other's company for a bit, then we disperse. For the 27th night of Ramadan, we stay normally overnight. So this year, from the 27th night of Ramadan, we will have the iftar as normal, and then we will stay up to around midnight to do the 20 rakat prayer. It's an extended prayer, a very lengthy prayer in comparison to the others. And we look forward to all of this. And then, of course, our Eid celebration, inshallah, would be the following Monday. The following Monday, which is Monday, May the 2nd, at the Kwame Ture Center from 10 a.m. And I'll be doing the lecture. And then, of course, refreshments will be served afterwards. All right? So, I'm inviting you out to our Eid celebration on Monday, May the 2nd. Also, we have confirmed a date for our first African Unity Conference together in person since 2019. So that will be May 28th. Of course, you'll be hearing much more about that after Eid. So African Unity Conference, Saturday, May 28th from 3 p.m. Again, we look forward to seeing you at both occasions. This weekend, we have the Girls Academy, the Sisters, that's on Sunday from 2 p.m. And it's a training program for our young black queens. And we have a whole host of inspirational black women to teach them, train them, emphasize the importance of self-respect as young black girls, and to not tolerate objectification and disrespect from some of these males, to pursue your goals. Get that education, get your qualifications, be a young leader. This is our sisters. Of course, refreshments will be served for the sisters tomorrow as well. I'm doing my lecture as normal at the Kwame Ture Center, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. In fact, we have a powerful message tomorrow morning, and then the sisters event starts right after from 2 p.m. And then in June, we'll be launching the Boys Academy. And that one in particular particular, beloved, we're going to be paying a lot of specific attention to. Again, just like with the Girls Academy at the Kwame Ture Center, we bring in inspirational figures. Tomorrow we have Dr. Eugenia Springer, and of course Sister Roxanne Muhammad, and so many others. Great women who can inspire our young girls. And in June, when we launch the Boys Academy, I'm not going to give the date as yet, but mid-June, when we launch the Boys Academy, again, we're pulling together a team of mentors, great black men who have something to offer, some guidance to give, an example to set, those who can be role models. So we have police officers, we have great footballers who have traveled the world, who will talk about the discipline required to achieve in that field, football coaches. We have a lawyer, a doctor. I'm talking about young people, young quality black men who have set their goals and achieved them. Young doctor, born in Laventille, grew up in Laventille, spent the whole life there, and in spite of whatever distractions, still achieved. Young lawyer, contractors, business owners, martial artists, you have soldiers, entertainers. And so the Boys Academy will be running for, and again, I'm going to talk about it more in the weeks to come, but the Boys Academy will be running for 3 cycles of 12 weeks within a calendar year. So it's going to kick off in June, it's going to run to around September, then it's going to go on a break for a while, then it's going to resume again, 12 weeks. It's going to be Saturday mornings, and every session is going to be focused on a different theme. We're pulling together our young black men and exposing them to good role models that they could look up to, that they could emulate. And a major part of that program as well is the youth leaders, the youth mentors, the youth ambassadors. So it's not just, I want you to understand this clearly, it's not just the mentors and the teachers or the elders or the leaders who will be interfacing with the youth, but we have young people themselves, 16 years old, 18 years old, 21 years old, who are also youth leaders, peer leaders. And then we're building a family, not a gang, a family. Teaching the youth consciousness, discipline, sacrifice. Get that education, go all the way, apply yourself, set some goals. Target achieving great things, and as a team together, all of us would support one another in moving forward. So the Girls Academy tomorrow, 2 o'clock, then the Boys Academy in a couple months. And each of these programs, each of these projects are laying the foundation for something else so much greater to come. We have just about 6 more weeks, I think, 5 or 6 more weeks with the lessons program that we're doing. Maths, English, POB, POA, Social Studies, Human and Social Biology. And then the new cycle would start in July, inshallah. And we're looking to expand. There's some other subjects that we want to bring in. But we must always be thinking about some kind of progress. We must always be thinking about moving forward, getting ahead. helping one another, being a brother and a sister to each other. That's our mission, beloved. And we focused on that. You know, there's so much to say, but I'm looking at our society, and I'm just seeing more and more. This is something I've been talking about for about the last 10 years, 15 years, but our people involved in this, and I will call it, this poisonous environment of politics. I am looking and observing, I'll just say it blunt and plain, to hell with those who have a problem. But I, as a black man, am on the sidelines looking at whites getting rich from politics, Syrians getting richer from politics, Chinese getting rich from politics, wealthy East Indians getting richer from politics, and Africans just cutting down other Africans to literally pave the way for the whites, the Chinese, and the Syrians to continue to prosper. It's almost like a self-imposed curse. And the more success a black man experiences in that arena, the more the self-hating Africans come forward to do their best to cut their own people down. Africans hating Africans. Africans maligning other Africans. Africans slandering other Africans. Africans threatening other Africans. To clear the way for whites, Chinese, and Syrians to get rich and enjoy their privilege. Those who know me, you already know I don't support that and those systems. But the more the behavior unfolds, the more I'm disgusted by it. And the more I reassert and reconfirm my position to not get involved in it. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And this would segue me into what I want to look at today. Now, I'm going to open the lines, hopefully before 8, but if not, right after 8. But I wanted to talk about this school violence situation. Because, of course, schools have been closed for 2 years. And now that the schools are back open, on the first day, we saw a news report stating that there were 15 cases of school violence in different schools across the nation. And those were the cases that were reported. And a lot of people are saying, and you know, it goes both ways, beloved. Let's be honest. It goes both ways. A lot of people are saying, and there's some truth in it, about, so people in my generation and even younger, but you'll hear people in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s, in their 70s saying, you know, when we were going to school, it didn't have fights like that. And when we were in school back at that time, you didn't see this kind of violence. Well, one thing we didn't have back in those days was the technology to film a fight in a classroom and broadcast it on the internet for it to be seen by close to 100,000 people within 24 hours. That is what we didn't have. Now, I do agree that some of the conflict is getting a bit more violent, bloody, aggressive, hostile. Yes. But it's not entirely true at all to say that it was never like that before. Because I went to one of those colleges. I went to Trinity College. I mean, Lord, I don't want to put Trinity College up, but I mean, and there were some serious fights from time to time. As a matter of fact, I remember one particular guy, Chin Al Young, very quiet, kind of chubby Chinese guy, and a brother named Mo got into a fight once, and Chin Al Young beat Mo. We used to do technical drawing, and some of the students would walk with like a PVC pipe to roll up their technical drawing sheets and put inside the pipe. And he had this probably about an inch and a half diameter PVC pipe. And he beat this boy more. We used to wear white shirts, gray pants. And I remember Moore's shirt was almost just as much red on the front of it as there was white. Blood, bleeding, busted up this man's head. I think Chin Al Young got suspended, and I think both of them were suspended. But, I mean, that was the kind of thing. Honestly, that would have been 1985 or 86. And if that was caught on camera back then, trust me, that would have been one of the most stunning videos that we would have seen in a long while. The visual of it, to see all of that blood flowing from a man's head, and they would have been in like Form 3, Form 4. There was a case at St. Mary's College, what, about 6 or 7 years ago. Boy stabbed another boy in the head. And you know what I remember very clearly as well? This would have been, I think, 2013 or 2014. It was one of those colleges. I have all the documented information. But I think it was Naparima Boys, where one student, if I remember correctly, I think one student was killed by another student. And here why I remember this one so vividly. It was either stabbing, I can't remember if the individual died. So you had one at Naparima College and one at Russell Latterby High School in Movar. Within the same month, I think it was. And the Minister of Education and one of the archbishops personally visited the college. And I remember contacting the school, the Russell Latterby High School, and speaking with the principal or vice principal about the incident, which was not being treated in the same way. So school violence has always been a thing, you know. Even the form fights. So you have like Form 1L, Form 1R, Form 1M, same thing, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, Form 5. And when a brawl breaks out, as would have been the case back in the day, it would have been the kind of visual that if it was caught on film, it would have been considered to be really terrible. So I just want to make that point, all right? Yes, what's happening now is, I believe, yeah, it's maybe worse than it's ever been before. but it's not brand new. We always had those kinds of fights, especially the form fights. I'm not just talking about the government secondary schools, all of the schools. All of the schools. Name any of the prestige schools. Same thing happens. So I want to make that point, and I also want to make a point that my beloved brother Derek Shabadi made, who's head of the Police Youth Club. He said, and this is true as well, that some of the violence that you see on some of these videos is staged. Some of it. Again, that is not to dispel the seriousness of the cases that are being reviewed, but some of it is staged, according to police officer Derek Shabadi, who runs the Police Youth Club, and he's doing a magnificent job as well. And inshallah, I'll be working with him on some of these projects coming up. So, having said that, let me lay a bit of a foundation here. So, the problem in a lot of the schools is bullying. And bullying is the use of force, threat, or coercion to abuse, intimidate, or aggressively impose domination over others. And this behavior becomes repeated and habitual. And one essential prerequisite of a bullying situation within a school violence scenario is the perception by the bully or by others of an imbalance of social or physical power. This is what we miss about young males. And males in general, Minister Farrakhan teaches us that males have, and the Holy Quran verifies it, Allah says the male is not like the female. Now, I know about all of this new gender transformation ideology. I'm not talking about that. And there are moves and, this is something else. We have to have a discussion about this eventually. A lot of people are being banned on social media for this too, for expressing the view that you are against gender neutrality in any way whatsoever. Because some of these educational systems are suggesting that you should not have any gender socialization, meaning you must not have certain activities and events and sports for boys and others activities, etc., for girls. They say, no, there must be gender neutrality. So you cannot say boys play football and basketball and girls play netball or volleyball, or that the boys, their color is blue and the girls' color is pink, or that the boys, you buy for them a toy set with, the little 5-year-old, 6-year-old child, you buy for him a hammer and screwdriver and toolkit, and you socialize him into becoming some kind of engineer or technician or mechanic. But for the girl, you buy a dolly house and a tea set and socialize her into taking care of the kitchen and preparing the food. Now, there are all these ideologies that are coming out seeking to outlaw any kind of gender socialization in exchange for gender neutrality. And the view is, and it's prevailing in Europe and the United States of America, that boys and girls must be brought up without highlighting the distinction and differentiation between male and female, and that they must choose their identity eventually as to whether they want to become male or female, as the case may be. Now, we believe, as Allah says in the Quran, that the male is different to the female. They both have rights, but different rights. And that there are specific gender-designated roles within the family. I'm sorry, but I'm going down with that. It's deep, it's deep. So, males seek to establish within their social groups among their peers some kind of control, dominance, authority, and respect. So much so that they will participate in violent, abusive, and aggressive behaviors to establish themselves as someone positioned with influence over the peer group. And the thing about a bully is that if he perceives himself to be a source of intimidation to those around him, he will begin to capitalize on that perception of himself and live within the confinements of a self-fulfilling prophecy and align his conduct with the behaviors that he believes are expected from him. Listen, in microsociology, there's the idea of a self-concept. And it is said that everyone has a self-concept. Everyone. But your self-concept is how you see yourself. All right, fine, we understand that. But the self-concept is your self-concept is how you see yourself as a result of how you think others think about you. So you don't develop your self-concept from looking in the mirror and coming up with some kind of evaluation on who you are. No. Your self-concept is developed by how you interact with others and how you believe subconsciously that others think about you, what their opinion is of you. And then there is what is referred to as a self-fulfilling prophecy, or that young individuals in particular who are going through the process of being socialized would live out those expected behaviors. And if young men are being raised and there's no opportunity for any kind of competitive activity, any kind of teamwork, team sports, any kind of group interaction or competition to ventilate those natural aggressive tendencies, that if that type of situation is not properly handled or managed, then it could become chaotic. And merged with that, if you have a culture of aggression that is being promoted through music, entertainment, and film, and then the young individuals see individuals who carry out that kind of behavior as role models, then again, chances are we are establishing a fertile ground for those kinds of behaviors to be recycled. So behaviors used to assert such domination can include verbal harassment or threat, physical assault or coercion, and such acts that may be directed repeatedly towards particular targets. Bullying is the activity of repeated aggressive behavior intended to hurt, physically or mentally abuse, as characterized by behaving in a way to gain power over another person. Many times a bully is a coward, like some of these people online put in all kind of posts behind fake names, anonymous, because of their cowardice. A coward is like the lowest of the low. Someone who would avoid any kind of situation where they would have the lower hand, but would take advantage of someone else or an opportunity where they believe they may have the upper hand. Bullying occurs when a person is exposed repeatedly and over time to negative actions on the part of one or more other persons. Now, depending on circumstances, violence is not necessarily the first or natural response of young men venting a competitive spirit. Many times it's the last resort. And many times our youth only engage in acts of violence on this level in the absence of some other means to express their chained fury or caged anger. Now, there was a paper entitled Social Psychological Analysis of Deviance Among Male Adolescents in Trinidad and Tobago by Vidya Lal, which surveyed 317 youths between the ages of 13 and 15 in 3 secondary schools. And 2 of the schools were found to have severe levels of deviance, that is 10%, and the third, a juvenile institution, having 20%. Overall, 10% of the total number of students were found to have committed severe acts of deviance, including fighting with a weapon. Martin Mills, in Challenging Violence in Schools, gives a clearer definition of violence or aggressive behavior in relation to boys, where he says, quote, violence here subsumes the notion of coercive power. That is, power over others. It is this naturalized attitude of masculinity which lies at the heart of the network of power relations that maintains existing patterns of gendered privileges. We're talking about a school environment here. It's not just the individual episodes of violence that are problematic, but violence itself is respected and adored because of a newly emerging culture that commercializes violence. Boys are increasingly leaving school with no qualifications. On average, 7,000 more boys than girls leave school with no passes and are more likely to be identified as having special educational needs. And most worryingly, boys have increased rates of self-harm, increasing rates. I have to continue this. We'll be back.
The views expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of the Street 919 FM.
Let's go. See when I tell you what I tell you. See when I tell you what I tell you. See when I tell you what I tell you. What I tell you when I tell you. What I tell you when I tell you. Let's go. Let's go. We are something special. Hey. Very special. Hey. Something special. Hey. 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 We are something special. Hey. Very special. Hey. Something special. Hey. See when I tell you when I tell you no no. See when I tell you when I tell you no no. See when I tell you when I tell you no no. Very special. No no. See when I tell you what I tell you no no. See when I tell you when I tell you no no. It seems like forever and a day we've been on this ride. And all the things that you do for me, my gratitude I can hide. And all the ups and downs turn around, you're always right by my side. And now I'm walking and standing tall and holding my head up high. When you turn down, you turn around. Take my front, turn it upside down. Take my words and you make a song. Take my short and you make it long. Keep my feet firmly on the ground. When I'm weak, yeah, you make me strong. So for you now, I sing this song. Everybody hands up and sing it with me. We are something special, hey. Very special, hey. Something special, hey. Hey, hey. We are something special, hey. Very special, hey. Something special, hey. Hey. See when I tell you no no. See when I tell you when I tell you no no. See when I tell you when I tell you no no.
a safe and relaxed professional massage therapist and nutritionist? Look no further. Nature's Touch with Empress Judy and Associates offers a natural approach to better health. Treat yourself to a professional massage therapy and nutrition advice in a safe and relaxed atmosphere. Rejuvenate your body, mind, and soul at Nature's Touch Therapy. For an appointment, please call or WhatsApp 1-868-398-8282 or visit our Facebook page. Remember, your health is our responsibility at Nature's Touch.
From the studio to the stage, every Friday between 3 to 4 p.m. right here on the street, 919 FM, radio you can see. Log on to our Facebook and YouTube so you can see live interviews and performances from some of our very own local superstars. Right here on the street, 919 FM.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday from 12 midnight to 5 a.m. in the morning on the street 919 FM radio. Here my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
Roger Garraway and his community of creatives present The Royal Exhibit, a 3-day art exhibition, Wednesday, April 27th to Friday, April 29th, Queens Park, Savannah. Daily start time, 11:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. under the auspices of the MP for St. Anne's East, Dr. Nyan Gaspidali. The greatest and finest pieces ever witnessed by local artists in Trinidad and Tobago will be on display for purchase. Come to this wonderful event and walk away owning a masterpiece that can be displayed in your home or passed down for generations to come. Roger Garraway has now made his mark on the international market, breaking barriers and setting the standard high. He and his group of friends will wow you with their out-of-this-world pieces. This event cannot be missed. You can also enjoy the opportunity to browse and purchase fantastic one-of-a-kind handmade art and craft pieces created by local designers from the community. Special guest appearances by Patrice Roberts, Michael Edwards and friends, Iwer George, Roxanne Lane, Gracie, and Joey Rivers and his band. Food and drinks on sale. Secured parking for all vehicles and all COVID-19 protocols will be observed. Special thank you to the Member of Parliament for St. Anne's East, Dr. Nyan Gaspidali.
Better vision for your physical eyes, and through the eyes of faith, let healing arise in your mind, body, and spirit. At Natural Heal Ministries, we teach kingdom principles for living that brings the blessing of God to your mind, body, and soul.
NHM Professional Associates are located at number 10 Moody Stewart Street, Monterey Post, San Fernando. For more info, contact Dr. Desmond Phillip at NHM on 349-3494.
NHM Professional Associates can be heard live on the street 919 FM every Saturday from 9:05 to 9:55 a.m.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. Brotherhood is obligatory.
Black man, get up. Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen.
So there's a need for brotherhood.
Black man, get up. Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen. Black man, get up. Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen.
Brotherhood is demanded.
Black man, get up. Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen.
Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. Brotherhood is obligatory. Brotherhood is essential, it is urgent, and it is compulsory. But the time demands brotherhood. Whenever the dominant white society fears for its economic future, racial tensions are always aggravated. The aim of Almighty God is to bring the black man and woman together. The aim of Almighty God is that we, no matter how divided we have been in the past, must experience unity in order to gain the success that we seek and the progress that we desire. There is no way that a divided people can build a future. Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. So there's a need for brotherhood. But if you walk the earth proud and arrogant, you never learn your lesson because you think you already know. And how the hell could you know and be in the shape that we're in? How can there be any brotherhood if there's not even the honoring of a word?
Black man, get up. Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen. Black man, get up. Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen. Black man, get up. Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen.
But the Quran and the Bible bear witness that the heavens and the earth were created with truth.
Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen.
Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. Brotherhood is obligatory. Brotherhood is essential. It is urgent and it is compulsory. I feel that every man that wants to speak should have the right. And if you think you know it better, get on up and get on and do the job. But if you don't know what to do, and all your mouth is able to do is condemn and criticize, but you have no works to show the rightness of your philosophical adherence, then maybe you should rethink your position.
Oh, yes. And all you're able to do is condemn and criticize. That describes a portion of our population that have opinions. All you can do, that's all. Condemn and criticize. All right, we're going up to 9 o'clock, beloved. And I just want to finish off some points. So I'm opening up telephone lines literally now, but just want to finish a couple points here. Now, I'm giving some examples of something. So this is a Newsday newspaper article, May the 9th, 2017. And it's speaking of a brawl involving students of St. Mary's College in Port-of-Spain, CIC. Now, this is the Newsday, May 9th, 2017. It says, quote, in one video, several students savagely attack and repeatedly kick a student as he lies helplessly on the floor, trying to protect his head with his arms from the blows. As the video is about to end, a boy is seen flying through the air to land a kick on the victim, who, unable to see the blow, takes it unflinchingly and squarely in his back. The attack resembled that of a mob tearing into its victim. Students not involved in the attack either stood by and cheered on the violence or took out their cell phones to record the images. Now, that's St. Mary's College. Tutor President then Lindsley Dudai said, if the incident took place at CIC, it demonstrates that indiscipline and violence is not only confined to government secondary schools, but even these so-called prestige schools, he said. And then in a report here entitled Management of Disruptive Pupil Behavior by Alice Lang and Maurice Chazan, page 101, they write, it has been suggested that children can be helped towards bringing their social behavior under their own verbal control if they're encouraged to discuss alternative ways of behaving and the consequences of such behavior. Aggressive children are often impulsive and are inclined to lash out unthinkingly. Society has made the mistake to think that a solution is to fortify security personnel and equipment without realizing that the pupils merely react to infrastructure that has been built for negative circumstances. A message is being sent to the children saying, we expect you to be violent. Listen, I lectured at a juvenile detention center in St. Croix, Virgin Islands. This was about 5 years ago. The total population, if I remember well, was no more than 70 young males. And the compound, the size of the space that they were in, listen, I wish I could have filmed it, because I've never been in a place quite like that. For juveniles, I mean, it was like a Guantanamo Bay kind of setting. There was barbed wire everywhere, massive compound, all this security, double doors, so you go through one door, they lock. It had higher security than the Port of Spain prison. I'm telling you. I am telling you. The kind of technology that place had, it was shocking to me. I remember speaking about it on the radio over there in St. Croix. That was 2016. And it was the opposite. I went into the prison in St. Vincent. Oh, man. I don't want to get too much into that. But in St. Vincent, when I visited the prison there was a man directing, like, vans coming out of the prison. So, like, you know, like someone holding up traffic. And that man was actually a prisoner. He's out in the public road. Anyway. So, when we have these beefed up security, you have security guards in the prison looking like they're ready to fight a war in Iraq. Things like the barbed wire fencing, you know, the scanners, the metal detectors, all of that imagery sends a subconscious message, according to this position. In a page 3 article, Newsday, this is November the 1st, 2004. This is almost 20 years ago. Headline of this article was, Children Replacing Pens with Guns. And it quoted Clive Panton, who was a former Minister of Education. And he said, children are substituting the gun for the pen and have a false idea of what power is all about. It's argued in some circles that indiscipline in schools in Trinidad and Tobago has risen as a result of the banning of corporal punishment by the Ministry of Education in the year 2000. And whether or not that is so, there have been reports of increased incidents of deviant behavior within our nation's schools. That was a major milestone in indiscipline in this country, when the government back then, the Basdio Pandey administration, took a decision to ban corporal punishment. In fact, you know what? I was a school teacher, and I came out of the system from 2007 to 2013. That's when I was with the Soca Warriors. I came back in the system for 3 years, from 2013 to 2016. And it was my first day back at a primary school. There was such a brutal fight. And what really stunned me was apparently there was some decision taken I don't even want to talk about this. But there's a policy by some teachers that if there's a physical confrontation, to not get involved. Literally to stand by or walk away. There are teachers who've taken that position. So the banning of corporal punishment would have increased school indiscipline, not just from not being able to correct the students, but it is like there is a new unwritten policy that there is no law and order in here. I remember some of my best teachers had a stick. I remember Mr. Martineau. They used to call him Butters from Belmont, my maths teacher in Form 1 at Trinity College. One of the best teachers I've ever had. And he used to beat everyone. Okay, so that might be a little excessive, right? But, because, no, literally used to beat everyone. He would go around desk to desk. Oh, man. If any of my Trinity College colleagues are listening. But he was so effective and so loved. You think we could have broken out into some fight in front of him? According to one article, disorder will breed disorderly behavior. The classroom environment can, in a way, tell students to care or not care about their behavior or even suggest disruptive behavior. Pupils exhibit a variety of behavioral patterns that may be deemed as unruly, and the behavioral patterns adopted by them are unique, complex, and individualistic, which are usually beyond the teacher's control and sometimes beyond the teacher's comprehension. Another article here, almost 20 years ago, October 27, 2004, Express newspaper. Article says, after a review of a number of incidents, the Ministry of Education identified 33 high-risk schools. Anthony Alphonse, project supervisor, Educational Facilities Management Unit, said young people were in a perpetual stage of restlessness which manifested itself in a number of ways. Lloyd Best, the great Lloyd Best, an article entitled Measures to End School Violence. This is published in the Express. He said, placing security controls, listen, placing security controls on the premises of schools is probably the worst possible solution of all. That is a man who many have referred to as one of the greatest philosophers ever to come out of Trinidad and Tobago, Lloyd Best. He said, placing security controls on the premises of schools is probably the worst possible solution of all. Each child brings their own personality and individuality to their school, no doubt influenced by the family environment. The peer groups they find themselves in start to introduce them to a somewhat autonomous peer culture. Another Newsday article, this is January 22nd, 2014, reported 3 handcuffed students of the Chaguanas North Government Secondary School were led by armed police officers into the Chaguanas Magistrates Court to answer 4 charges. 2 for indecent assault of a female schoolmate and robbing her of $2, as well as 2 other counts of robbery on other students. Then a school stabbing between 2 Presentation College San Fernando students was reported in the Guardian newspaper February 4th, 2014, stating that the younger 14-year-old student allegedly had a blade and attacked the 15-year-old student, cutting him on the right side of his back and chest. And after seeing the blood, he became frightened and slit his own wrist, forearm, and the side of his neck. These are horrific cases. October 13th, 2011, Express newspaper told of a 14-year-old boy who was charged with the attempted murder of his schoolmate and wounding of a female pupil. He was granted $40,000 bail. January 23rd, 2014, reported on the TV6 News that a 15-year-old mother of a 1-year-old baby was murdered in Belmont. On the same day, it was reported that a 14-year-old was arrested for the murder. January 29th, 2005, Express newspaper, report entitled Cops Arrest Unruly Students. On page 3, it says, 3 school children, including a 14-year-old girl, were charged with assaulting and cursing the police, and over 70 pupils were detained. Samuel McKnight, another Newsday writer, did a report on the arrest of an East schoolboy by police held with a gun. 16-year-old. Probe newspaper, classroom shocker. Cops called in as students build guns in school. This was the Pleasantville Senior Comprehensive School. Students now manufacturing guns, the report said. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. There's no shortage of these kinds of cases. And the science remains the same. You don't solve this problem by beefing up security. It's just like crime on the street. It's like the gang warfare. The solution to the problem is not just, okay, I understand, yes, we must have more police and more patrols. Yes, of course, yes. But that is not the end game solution to this problem. Equality of opportunity, justice in the society, employment. That's on the street level, but when it comes to these schools, young males must be given opportunities to vent, activities to exercise a competitive spirit. Introduce boxing in the school. Do you know how much discipline is required in boxing, in sport in general? And then, I mean, it's a whole community approach, because a lot of the attitudes will come out of the peer group within the neighborhood or community, and sometimes because of the ineffective control mechanisms of the family, the young individual would rebel. Now, you might not be a violent young child, but if you're unbridled and lack discipline and you go out into an environment like that where it appears that that kind of behavior is the norm, then you become much more susceptible to participating in that kind of behavior. All right, so let me open up the phone lines. 342-0081 and 466-5391. So yes, the problem is huge. Yes, it's terrible. Yes, we must go all out as a society to solve it, but don't think for a moment that it is new. The only thing new about it is that the children have cell phones to record it and circulate the videos. Caller, good morning.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Walaikum salam.
And Brother David Mohammed, I'm second to that. And I went to secondary school. I was 51 years last week Sunday. I went to primary school when I was to go primary school. What I see in here now is joke. For me, little ladies I talk about. I went mapping in this school and I talk about every other evening. Just to have a fight on that little mango tree. Because now the children go to the gas and I talk about it's like they have bullying in school, people choking people with pen and them kind of thing. And the only difference is have now, they have no cell phone.
Yeah.
In secondary school, I don't want to call it secondary school, but it's a cheap school should go on, man getting cheers and all them kind of things. So they not hard cell phone. So when I hear people talking about the function getting on now and this and that, they cannot remember when they used to go to school. They didn't have no cell phone, we could have shared the town, you know, people could just. And at that time when I was still living on the compound in Mukra, with me and other brothers, he was to come and train us in GI. At that time, same Shabbat, he was our constable. And we were so regulate. You see that country, you have to have fight there. And we have to stop all them fights. Shabbat, you have to be running up and down in the road there. As a police or young police, we could tell you that. We want to come out on our system because the Quran tells us that you can see a wrong thing, you can stop it with your hands. You also regulate them, students and then I don't know how it will happen. Now, if you go you on SL Street by the corner, SL Main Road, you have TSC, right? I'm not TSC all the time. I don't see any of them different line in there after 5. What are you doing here still? Hey boy, find yourself in a max say, where from? Driver, don't stop until. Go drop you off until you reach the destination. And if you support anyway, let me know tomorrow. So now that judge just to make sure that they cannot fight on that Mokra road. None whatsoever. None. So now when people and a hype about, hey, look what's going on here now and this and the outer hand, but it was always like that. I used to work at Fatima College a couple years ago, and you're surprised to see what is taking place in that school.
Exactly.
You're surprised a student come to school in the morning and when he's going to walk back out 10 minutes after one period going by, they send him home why and he choked. And you have high color. Choked and after the father went on he come in school smoking a weed. I didn't see any father smoking weed. And that's Fatima College. So I'm saying, you know, it's happening all the time. It's just we have social media now and everybody is a big hypertensive. And the next thing too, you talk about something about gender and some young people to identify yourself. As you see the Quran say, male is different from female. Male is different from female.
Exactly, but they're trying to force a position that male and female are the same.
No. All male and female, a male can make a child.
And if you disagree, now, like I said, but there are certain things that you'll get banned from social media for.
Yes,
speaking the truth about the pandemic is one, right? And the devil's poison, as I call it. Also, talking about the Jewish Holocaust in a disparaging way. All right, that's another. And then this now is one of the new ones.
Yes, but
against gender neutrality.
Yes, but a friend of mine 2 years ago when I talked about, I said, just going to bring this to the school, it will be a subject in school and you cannot do nothing about it. And she, watch now, me and she told, it's our enemy. But that, because I talking now the truth, right now in certain states in America, they're teaching them thing in class. In England, they're teaching you that. And that's all that part of the New World Order. All part of the New World Order, and you can stand up against it. they forsake people. I look out and listen.
Thanks a lot, my brother.
And well, I'm going on vacation from tomorrow, so inshallah.
Right, so check us for iftar.
Yes,
Yes, sir. All right, my brother. Looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah, man.
Good morning, caller.
Morning, Mr. David. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah. This morning I like what you enjoy it. Yeah, listen. What you say was true. I remember going to school a long time. It used to have fight, but it used to have social media. And I was in a couple of fights, but it was no social media.
Exactly.
And I'm a big man today. And let me tell you this. It helps an agenda they're trying to push in young people ahead. That boys and girls are equal. I must never say that. And you see who they're attacking? They're attacking the younger ones than the ones who brain soft. And let me tell you this. When I used to go to school, we was in English. And it had this female teacher. And she was getting problems to talk to us, problems. And when I did so, I was in junior. And when she talked to a student of French Creole, that boy and used obscene language on her. The female, when she handled it no more, went and talked a male teacher. His name is, he passed away, Mr. Ronnie. I was in my, how was it? When the female teacher couldn't handle, they go to the male teacher. I don't know if it was in your times, you used to go to school.
Yeah.
Okay, right. And Mr. Ronnie Williams come with his stick. He used to call it Alo Alo from the movie now, the TV show Alo Alo.
Yeah. I remember that.
All right. And he asked us who used the obscene language. Everybody get quiet over us. Everybody making noise. But when you see male coming out, that's when everybody stands straight. And they point at the French Creole. David Mohammed, that boy, 9 of the lashes on his bamsi. And it is in my mind to this day. And that male teacher said, Mr. Ronnie Williams, do not ever, never curse a woman in life. Again, if you curse a woman, you're cursing your mother. When Larry gets, according to you know, when Larry gets of 9 on the bamsi, that boy feet get red. But he was disciplined. No fast forward to this day. The problem going on today is the system telling you how to train your children. Let me, because look what's going on now in the system. I've seen little girls stand up on some cars to jump on people. I never, young ladies in my times doing that, the years they fight. But I never see girls stand up on cars to jump on girls. I see girls fight. We have to try to find out what is the problem. And mothers, stop humbling your sons. Let the male or the father do his part as take care of the boy. Too much of mothers now want to see about boys and girls. When I was growing, boys used to play outside. How many young boys you see playing? So that energy they have is not coming out. And it needs to be released. These children now, they're saying it's the TV show, they're saying it's cartoon, but we say what Tom and Jerry, And I never see a pick one malnutrition and
Okay. Tom hitting Jerry over the head with a hammer and
we laugh about it.
And getting knocked down by a car, rolled over, and then reverse.
So don't come and tell me if it shows you watching. Don't come and tell me that.
Yeah.
I grew up watching studios and I never see a pan and poke a man in the eye.
Right. Yeah, thanks a lot, dear brother. Thanks a lot. Caller, good morning.
A pleasant good morning to you, dear doctor and philosopher.
Good morning, sir.
Right. Let me tap into the editorial. It's sad to see what's happening with the nation children. But I'll add 2 cents, share my opinion, and a solution. I don't know if you would go with it. I think at this stage, the horse would have bust the stable. And drastic times calls for drastic action. I am now saying it's time to bring legislation to charge parents for negligence. I'll tell you what. If Frank is your son and Wendy is your daughter and you cannot account for that child, I am saying the buck stops with you. And I'm saying here, I understand what's happening with the system. It's time we bring legislation to do that. Because I'll tell you, doctor, the entire problem surrounding these children is family life, manhood, fatherhood. And if that is lacking, so I am saying we got to hold the bull by its horn. Now, people may say, Tabakit, why be so drastic and harsh? And I am saying the problem is in the home. Look, listen, as an educator, as a teacher, as a doctor, as a philosopher, you understand sometimes for parents there. You're not going to get the parents coming to the school at all. I don't know if we take our mind back to the Karipichaima Secondary School, where the 14-year-old boy had killed one of his peers in the school. I think it was for a love affair. And when they did the investigation and they asked him why, he said his partner took away his love. But when they went deeper, they realized that child was disturbed. The whole love situation is because he said that he wasn't loved from home. So he feels as though that his peers took away his love. And that is why I'm saying it is time. And if the Prime Minister is listening, the Attorney General is good advice. Let's bring legislation to charge parents for negligence. I don't know what is your opinion on this as a doctor, a philosopher, and an educator, but I'm saying it's high time. Wendy is your daughter, Frank is your son. You cannot account, you should be charged. I don't know what's your opinion on it, but I'm thinking this is where we have to go, where the horse have bought the stable. Tabakit out and off, Eid Mubarak.
Thank you, Eid Kareem. And I actually did a survey on that during my PhD research. And I think it was something like 75% of persons felt, yes, parents should be held accountable, whether legally or otherwise. But the thing about that opinion is it would tend to vary based on the position of the person who's being asked the question. So one person may be of the opinion, yes, a parent should be prosecuted if their child commits some serious criminal offense. But if such a person finds himself in the same situation, they would not say, yes, I should be prosecuted. You know, so it tends to be such a varying view on that. But there are certain things, yes, that parents must be held accountable for children, but not in every single case, because the influence of the peer group after a certain age within adolescence becomes stronger than the influence sometimes from the very home. But it is an ongoing debate. Caller, good morning.
Good morning. Good
How
morning,
are you doing?
all.
How are you doing?
I am good. Give thanks.
Great.
As what you ended there with, it's clearly to me what is happening. Because if the community is not raising the child, that is one of the reasons why things are heading in this direction as well. When your peers have a lot of influence over you, and when we're working as one unit as a community, that influence would be more positive one. But as you are saying rightly, this thing is not anything new.
Yep.
I can go further back than you and the first caller, not much further back, a tad. And in primary school, they have a girls' school, and there were fights. And you used to circle and go heave, and all of this kind of thing. So it's nothing new. But of course, we are filming it. And that there is something
and it's going viral.
And it's going viral. And for the longest while, I've said, if you don't put it on the news, that is in a way to curb it as well, because everybody looking for their 2 seconds of fame to see themselves on television and all of this kind of thing. Get some police officers, and at school it's over the police officers in the vehicle outside of the school. You post them in strategic areas on the Laventille, in Sawa, in Curep, in the junctions there where the children go to get the maxis. And you keep them moving, get on the maxi and go home. Here the young man spoke of it there. That is something too that can be done. All of a sudden, and you see this, the homosexuality that is tied in with the gang dealing things. That is another serious thing, that having our young men's heads messed up. The introduction of homosexuality and the gang thing is intertwined now. That's another thing. But I would say a couple of weeks, how many weeks ago, you saw this fight on the news where this woman dragging this girl and...
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And I looked at it because the girl's complexion very light. When I saw that, I say, you see that? You're going to see how much now is going to be done and said about this violence and fights in school. And so said, so done.
And it's a similar pattern with the women who are killed or go missing. Similar pattern.
Yes.
You know, regardless of who wants to try to deny it, the complexion of the victim
deny it all they want, but
often is a factor in the extent to which it's reported.
Whatever is done, because I said, look at, and then next thing you know, there was a calling program, and what can we do, and what can we do? From the minute I saw that on the television with this light-skinned girl being dragged by this African woman, I said, that woman is going to get heavy penalty, and you're going to hear the minister start talking, and all of the time, all this gang violence thing is going on, and nothing is being said, nothing is being done, and people would tell you how many times they had all different meetings about this thing and what to do and nothing. But I also heard that you have even more on your plate. You are involved in the prison reform discussions. I heard it on the radio, which is very good, very, very good. So listen, we have to see as much as we can do coming from the community to help to raise the child. But this must have some kind of a stop to it now. It's really getting out of hand. Thank you, my dear.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Caller, good morning.
Hi, morning, David.
Yes, good morning.
Hello?
Yes, good morning. Hearing you clearly.
Hi, morning to David and the listeners. Very interesting conversation and one that is required today, but I want people to understand something. You hear me good, right?
Not very, very clearly, but go ahead.
Give me 3 seconds. Let me correct it. You hear me?
Right, go ahead.
Right. My thing is that they have always been fighting school. I fought in school. Now, there's no excuse. The thing of it is...
Were you caught on camera by chance?
Yes.
You were caught on camera?
Pardon?
No, you said you fought in school, right?
Yes, I did. But
Right. No, I asked you. I asked you if you were caught on camera.
No, I was not.
All right. Just checking.
And
Just
it was
checking.
more than once.
Right.
The thing of it, my sister fought in school. They clung of it. So we and those people are friends today.
Yeah.
The thing is that it's highlighted now and it's judgmental. Now, do you know, I think I heard you mention it, that they are fighting pesky schools. There are lots of fighting pesky schools.
Of course. Of course.
And there's a difference where people are picked up by the parent. It's more controlled an environment because poor people, children have to travel. They have to take the bus. It's a different, and I want people to know that fighting school is not a one-sided problem with African people. It's not. And I want people to take that out of the way. Now, I disagree with legislation to hurt parents. I disagree with that.
No, but there are cases. What I'm referring to, if the parental involvement or lack thereof is as a result of neglect, then a parent should be held accountable for neglect, because neglect is a form of abandonment.
I agree. I agree with parents being accountable. As far as arresting parents in relation to children's behavior, I think we are not there.
No,
yet.
you can't do that. That's a slippery slope.
We need to have structure before we even go to that level of creating legislation for that.
It's true.
To me, there's always one ingredient out there to deal with social issues. You must try not so much the passive way out, but you must try the way of dealing with it from a conversation perspective. The school, there must be a component that will involve teachers, police, parents. There must be those groups involved in it. I don't think they're involved. Not only that, how many schools you have fights? So if you see social media and you have several fights, you might see certain schools. Is it a point where it cannot be controlled or managed? I think we have to go that way before we think about that legislation. I listened this morning, and it's always the parents. Yes, I agree. I agree. But do you know that there are organized parents, mother, father in the house, well managed, and their children fight? And that's the point I'm making. We need to deal with it from a lot of perspective. One, I think that you have to involve the police, not from always a criminal perspective. Social workers. I hear Reddy Collins will be talking a lot. Is she involved in anything in Trinidad and Tobago? We hate to employ people. Employ people to deal with the issue, and we'll be fine. So, I mean, I always, I like these kind of discussions, but I think the fact that it's been highlighted is not an area where we can only feel that one group of people is fighting, and to deal with it, you have to be criminal. No, the root cause has to be pulled out, and once we get that, David, I think we could go forward. Good program, man.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, caller.
Good morning to you, Brother Mohammed.
Good morning, sir.
And I want to say, wonderful editorial in the 80s, speaking about the children and also of Africans in this country is getting left back, and all other race is benefiting, making millions of dollars. Brother Mohammed, some of us want it so, some of us fight and fit not to be so. But Brother Mohammed, I must say the behavior of the children, I'm very concerned about it. Why they behaving so, what they eating, what in the last 2 years they was doing. Why our children? Yes, we know some of this are stage. Yes, we know that some of this are for likes and comments. But Brother Mohammed, we have to ask the question: why our children so aggressive? Have they so a temper in the school? And I want to say this, Brother Mohammed. You see now, and we talk any things here, we want to talk the things, so we have to talk it. You see, today, in this society, in this new generation, I ask my mother now what time she used to be inside, she said before the sun set, she used to be inside. My mother tell me, Brother Muhammad, she couldn't know about boyfriend and girlfriend. Brother Muhammad, my mother tell me that she couldn't talk to a neighbor or answer somebody back in the road. Brother Muhammad, today, mothers and the children are cussing the neighbors if the neighbors come out and talk to them. Brother Muhammad, I want to say it again. Today, mothers and the children cussing the neighbor. And when the neighbor and the mother get away, the mother encourages children to cuss and watch the neighbor or how. Remember, you can't talk to nobody children that's wrong. Because the mother and the same child who is trying to correct coming to cuss you. But we have to continue to them. But remember, today I am seeing our children at the age of 6, 7 putting on Quitex. Where is the ribbon? Where is the buttons and the clips on them back? Today, Brother Muhammad, I am seeing that our children putting on weave, expensive weave, at the age of 10, 11, 12. And Brother Muhammad, how you could put on Quitex on a child and weave? And we have to tell the things. Mothers go in and buy some clothes for the children, Brother Muhammad. And these children are feeling big. They're feeling they're 19 and 20 because they have them big people. Because these things is a part of playing it. We ain't hearing that. Let me sit down and think now, man. These are the things that why we, Brother Muhammad, I know there's some mothers out there child with their children. Child. I mean, they're doing children for work. But that child, because sometimes you make a child, but you make a child mind. But that child, Brother Muhammad, just want to be the child, want to be on the bad side, just as mothers and child, just as mothers going all out. And I want to thank the mothers and also the fathers who is child. But that child just want to be bad. But I'm speaking about the majority of them today. Long time, you know, when a child picky, when a child here picky, you buy item braids and come in braids, okay, rose for your child to go ahead. It's Brazil weave, it's expensive weave, in a little child head. What is filling up that child mining? What is filling up that child mining? I don't mind if that child do good in school and explain that child well. I'm buying a little expensive weave for you because they do good, they come A, they come first in class, they're doing good in school. So I could buy a little niceness for you and put a little niceness on it. Now today, Brother Muhammad, look at me. When I know, Brother Muhammad, that when the boy drop, I want to say this, the boy drop with our parents. Because, Brother Muhammad, our parents didn't treat us like how our grandmother and the great mother and the great grandmother, my great mother and grandmother, treat them. They loosen the belt at my age, in who born in the 80s. They loosen the belt of letting us go party, freeing up the belt. We do things we them never do in the eye. Remember today, your parents, your father sleeping, your mother sleeping, and a 15-year-old outside after 10, after 12, and you inside, use the mother, use the father, and you inside sleeping, but your child outside. Today, Brother Muhammad, our young people is looking up to the wrong set of people.
Yep.
Our young people. Brother Muhammad, this topic, Brother Muhammad, I can say so much, but I want to thank you very much. But I didn't want to say this before I go.
I want to tell our young people there is hope after all. And the hope begins with you to understand, because today technology, you tip of your fingers and you could learn and you could see and you could observe and you could understand. But today our young people is looking up to the wrong set of people. There is no body to say, well, this is my goal. This is a person to inspire by. That's the word that I want to use. There's no young people looking for person to be inspired by. But
role models.
Thank you as always. So what to say? I'm not time short.
Yes.
Thank you as always.
Countdown is on. Well, thank you very much for calling. Caller, good morning. The countdown is on.
Good morning, Dr. Mohammed.
Good morning. Good to hear from you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I am.
Okay, well, I'm calling you as secretary this morning, but I'm not too well. I'm calling you from the hospital, but I'm listening and I have to stay.
From the hospital?
Yeah, I'm not too well. But God is good. God is good. Dr. Mohammed.
Yes.
One of the most important things that we have to do right now is sport. We have to get back sport into
absolutely
the curriculum. From preschool. We have to get back. That money has to be spent.
Yeah.
You see all that money they're spending on other things. They have to get back. We have to campaign for that. Otherwise, our generation, they're going to be lost. They have to get back sports from preschool straight on to university. And there our children need to excel because we end up getting scholarship. You understand?
Yeah, well, I have to thank you so much for your call. Stay tuned to the Street 919 FM. I'll be back on next week. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak.
The views expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of the Street 919 FM.